Well, it's a new year. We have officially flipped the calendar to 2025, and I'm still not really doing anything. This is kind of the end of the time that I take off from all things flower farming, but I am out here because it got really windy on the farm earlier this week, and the one tunnel, the plastic didn't have enough weights on it, so the plastic flipped over the hoops. It didn't fly away because it's tied on really well at the ends, but it's supposed to get windy and snowy again today and colder. It warmed up quite a bit, but it's supposed to get colder, so I thought I would put some more weight on it. And these, we just have them playing around. They were great. They're just heavy and awkward. So that is the extent of the work I'm planning on doing on my flower farm this week. The only other thing I need to accomplish is putting together a YouTube video, because last March I said I was going to do a year's worth of videos, one video a week. So this week, because I'm not really doing anything new on the farm, I thought we would talk about and reflect on the 2024 season and the things that I learned during the growing season. And I picked out five main things. There's lots of little things I learned, but 5 main things I learned last year in 2024. So I think the biggest thing I learned last year was YouTube. I'm married to Bob, who has a YouTube channel for a number of years, and so I kind of know how it works. I kind of watch him do his thing, but I didn't really know how hard it was. I didn't know how to make videos. I didn't know how to edit videos. So it's been a big learning curve, but overall, I think it's made for a really fun year. It's really fun to challenge yourself, to learn new things. And I think in terms of like making videos, it just made me look through the lens and see the world around me a little bit differently, and try to find the beauty every day on what I was working on. And I really appreciated that part of making YouTube videos. So I am by far still learning, and I think I'll be learning through all of 2025. But I'm excited about it. 10 more weeks and I've completed my 52-week challenge, and then we'll see what happens after that. So to talk about the second thing I've learned this year, and I think this is something I've been learning over the last few years. I had to show you this patch of weeds here. I have grown flowers here. This is where I started growing flowers, and I've grown them every year except this past season. Instead, I have successfully grown a ton of weeds. My plan was to keep this mowed. I didn't even mow it down this year, so it is a bit of a mess. So instead, I've grown my flowers just on this side of the property this year, and I have no regrets about not using the nicer dirt in the front field. Having a smaller area to manage, stopping myself from expanding the farm has made me be able to take care of what I have better. I think that I'm getting just as many flowers off of a smaller area. And I think by continuing to improve the soil, keep the weeds down, every year this will get better. So my lesson that I have learned is that less can definitely be more. And I am going to continue to not expand how much of an area I grow on, but manage what I have hopefully better and better. So the third thing I learned this year was nematodes. I've never used them before, and they're great. It started in March with my seedlings and getting fungus gnats in the basement, and so they were a great option to keep that population under control. And then more importantly, what I'm most excited about is using them to try and keep the cutworm problem also under control. So I applied the nematodes this fall to some of my beds, and I'm excited to get them next spring and put them onto the beds before I start planting in April, and hopefully we don't have a cutworm problem next year. So my biggest challenge the last 2 years has been dealing with cutworm. First in 2023, I wasn't even sure what was exactly happening, what was causing all my problems. But once I figured out it was cutworm, this past year it was trying to figure out the best ways to get a handle on the population. So nematodes is one thing. The second thing is chickens, having chickens in your field. So what I learned this past year is that I love having chickens in my field. They just brought me great joy seeing them out here. So it was more work moving the chicken tractor around and moving the fencing around so that they could eat in different areas. But overall, it was totally worth it. We got some very yummy eggs from them this past season. I think they ate a ton of cutworm and some other bugs, and they just made me happy to see them outside. So that is the fourth thing I learned. I love having chickens out on my flower field. So the last thing I wanted to talk about what I learned this year was actually, it came from a goal I set for myself a year ago. And it's actually part of a bigger goal where I'm just continually trying to improve my soil in my field and my plants, the health of my plants. So I didn't till anything this year. I've been increasing my cover crops, not just how often I plant cover crops, but the variety of cover crops I have in my field. So really happy with how that's going. But this year I wanted to get better at feeding my plants and also feeding the soil by making some of my own amendments or buying in some more natural products that can do that. So that was my goal. I learned lots. I actually made 4 different things. 2 of them I showed you, the water soluble calcium, and I made compost tea. Very happy with both of them. And then there was 2 other things I made that I didn't actually videotape, but I am planning on using them and making them again. So we will get to that. Along with my worms, we haven't really talked much about my worms this year. I got them a year ago. I almost made that point number 6, but I thought we should keep this to 5 things that Jen learned on her flower farm this year. So next week we'll talk about worms. But those are the 5 things I learned. I think they are the five biggest things I learned that made for what I think is a successful 2024. I'm happy with how 2024 went, and I'm excited next week to get started on 2025. We're gonna pull out the seeds and start seeding in the basement. So yeah, thanks for hanging out with me and listening to me talk, and we'll see you next time.